I'm Marcia Pearlstein, and for the Port Townsend Film Institute, I'm interviewing Susan Morgan Cooper, the director, writer, and producer, the all-around Wonder Woman of Mulberry Child. And this film, hi Susan, first of all.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
And this film has won awards all over the world, from Madrid's International Film Festival to Nashville to Palm Springs, and of course, last night in Port Townsend, the Special Jury Award. We're really pleased to have you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
And before I ply you with questions, I want to take a breath for something extremely important to me. The Chimacum High School group that has done this particular set of videotaping for the entire weekend is here with us and deserve a lot of recognition. They are a wonderful young group of people who are really learning technical skills, but they also know people skills. They're making their interviewers and interviewees comfortable, and I would like, on behalf of Port Townsend Film Institute, to thank Colby Pouchet, Cale Gonzalez, Ryland All, Ross Henley, Chris Alberti, and Nina Milton. And the people watching this are giving a round of applause as we speak. Back to you, Susan. I think you had that same feeling when you walked in and they greeted you and got you started here.
That's so lovely. Thank you very much, you guys, for doing this. And as we said before, we'll probably be working for them very soon.
10 minutes from now, probably. Anyway, pay well, kids. Okay, let's get to Mulberry Child, because I have to say I was so moved by this film that I fought to be the person that interviewed you. There's a bunch of interviewers, and I drew you, so thank you.
Well, bless you. Thank you very much.
So, first of all, tell me, I mean, you have quite a background in film. Tell me what spurred you on to this project?
This particular project, I was actually screening another film of mine called An Unlikely Weapon, about a famous Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer, Eddie Adams. I was screening that film at the Palm Springs Film Festival a few years ago, and a lovely British gentleman came up to me and said, "I love your work. Will you make this book, Mulberry Child, into a movie?" And I didn't say yes right away. I read the book, and I found it intriguing, but I didn't want to make a sort of distant history documentary, because it was about the Cultural Revolution in China in the 60s and 70s. So it wasn't until I flew to Chicago and met the authoress of the book, Zhan Ping, and her daughter Lisa, that I found the hook for my movie. Between the mother and the daughter, there was an emotional disconnect that was palpable. And I thought, if I can trace that emotional disconnect back to the mum's childhood, which was very traumatic during the Cultural Revolution, then I have a movie.
And indeed you do and did and do. That hook is really, really very important, because it shows the ravages of revolutions. I mean,
yes.
It's so two-edged in so many ways, but when you take that personal tale, and it's more than a tale, it's their lives. And I'd like to ask about the aftermath. After filming them and telling the story, did you notice any changes? Did the disconnect... Was there anything that happened with the disconnect?
Yes, actually, what happened was the first time I showed this film was at the Heartland Film Festival. And, you know, as a director, you're very nervous before your first screening. And I was in the ladies' room, and Zhan Ping came in and she said, "Susan, we've made a horrible mistake. Lisa feels like she looks like a brat in the movie. She'll never forgive me. We're both horrified. We should never have done this. But good luck with the screening." And I thought, oh my God, so my heart sank. And I sat through the screening with both you know, fingers crossed on both hands saying, please God, may the audience like the film. And of course, that very first festival, they gave us a standing ovation. So the two women have since really loved having their relationship celebrated. People have come from all nationalities. People have come up to them and thanked them personally for sharing their story, you know, for being raw, for sharing, because it's helped many people, and now they're much closer together.
You know, that's an interesting segue into a question that our producer wants to be sure that I ask you.
Yes.
Because the question is why film matters, and the demonstration to me is that no matter how ravaging the subject, if you tell the truth in an authentic way, people go through an experience where, yes, they hit bottom, Plato's cave, and then they come up to more enlightenment and more light. And your film is such an example of that. Why does film matter to you? What has you spending your life in this pursuit?
Well, I can talk specifically. I'm just about to make a feature film with actors based on a documentary I made 10 years ago. It's called Team East LA. But to date, I've just made documentaries. For me, making documentaries can either change the life of someone in the audience. Hopefully in this film, the message is to connect with your family, to connect with your grandparents, to ask them those stories of adversity in coming to this country, to connect with your family, your parents, your children. And I think often film can affect the lives of the subjects that you choose. My very first documentary I made about, it was called Mirjana, and it was about a young girl from Croatia whose mum had died during the Balkan War. She was put on a plane to live with some distant relatives in Northern California, and she couldn't assimilate into society. She was grossly overweight and suicidal when I met her. And I'd never made a documentary before, and I said to her, I'm going to make a film about you. And I got a camera, I got some sound equipment, and I learned how to do it by the seat of my pants. And we actually went back to the Balkans during the fighting. I went right up to the front line. I was arrested. But what happened in making this movie, this young girl, in going back home, had a chance to heal and then was able to come back to America and assimilate into society. And to this day, we're such close friends. She married a lovely young man and is very successful and had a baby 6 months ago.
Wow.
And I honestly believe that had I not been in her life, I don't think she would be here.
It's better than therapy, and it was free for her.
I don't think she would be here, honestly.
Well, you know, and that experience for her is something she dates her life by, before
Yes.
and after she made that film with you.
Yes.
Your theme seemed to be getting people to, or focusing on people who are willing to explore their heritage, explore alienation and disconnection, and then come to some new place.
You're so smart, yes.
I try to.
I'm always attracted to displaced and oppressed people. Those are the subjects of my movies always. The documentary I made 10 years ago was actually called Roller Boys then. It's about a cop in East LA, a very tough neighborhood with 39 known gangs in a small radius, who takes a bunch of troubled kids off the street, boys, and turns them into a successful roller hockey team. It's not a Disney movie, it's a very gritty movie, and the script is amazing. I'm about to make it into a real movie because I promised the boys and the cop that one day I would. So I'm hoping that Benicio del Toro will play the lead as the cop, and that's where I'm headed next.
Well, now I'm going to take a turn. Since you got to L.A., I'm going to bring you to Port Townsend, because we're going to get closer and closer. We started off internationally with the Madrid Award.
Yeah.
But what attracts you to this film festival and to this town in particular?
Well, I was totally unaware that Port Townsend existed, but you have an amazing programmer called Jane Julian, who I met through my last movie and we bumped into at the Nashville Film Festival. And she said to me, "Will you come to the Port Townsend Film Festival?" And I said, "I'll come to any festival that you're part of." And I'm so, so happy I came. This is truthfully the most heartwarming festival. I mean, nothing like it anywhere. The people are so passionate and so generous and so welcoming. And it's not homespun. It's very, very classily and very efficiently run. It's a beautiful festival.
Well, on behalf of PTFI, I thank you.
Yeah.
and Jane Julian is our secret, wonderful, not so
weapon.
secret.
A secret weapon.
No, well, no, I was going to hesitate on weapon, but she's out there. She's our procurer. She brings us wonderful people like you.
Yes.
Before we go much further, give the listener your website.
Oh, it's actually called mulberrychildmovie.com.
And that would link them to other things that you've done in the past. Where are you based now?
I'm based in Hollywood. I actually have an office in my home, which is good and bad. I can work in my pajamas. It's good.
Not with Skype. You got to get dressed.
No, I never Skype. No. That would not be a pretty picture of me in the morning without coffee.
So you hail from Wales originally.
I do.
Give us the trajectory that got you from Wales to Hollywood.
Wow. Well, when I was a little kid, my dad was an electrical engineer, my mum a nurse, but they both loved the theatre. So there was a small theatre in my village, I can't call it a town, and my parents put on plays to raise money for charity. So as a kid, I'd be in the back, behind the sets and hoping that someone would get sick so I could stand in on stage for them. And that segued, I went into acting, and I came to this country and had a small role in a Clint Eastwood movie, but
I got to get out of this chair.
Oh.
So, no, I'm kidding. So if you're talking about Clint Eastwood.
Oh,
no,
I see.
I was joking.
And, the chair, the empty chair. Sorry, I'm blonde. I didn't pick it up.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. No, I just had to play.
Yes. And really speaking, for me, acting didn't really spur my passion because I was always, asked to play babe roles, the girlfriend of someone, and that didn't interest me. And it wasn't until I walked into an editing room at CBS Studios one day that the lights turned on,
Isn't it amazing when the light turns on? And,
yes.
And you certainly have the courage and the talent to play many different roles. Producer, director, you find the material or it comes to you, you select the material.
On this movie, actually, I was hair wrangler also, because the two subjects are the two people, they weren't actors, that I chose to play the mother and father during the Cultural Revolution. Their hair was too modern. The gentleman had long hair, and the lady had streaks in her hair. So we had to put wigs on both of them. So every day before shooting, I had to wrangle wigs.
We have 5 minutes left. I'm going to ask you a question you've probably never been asked, but
yes.
I just feel in the mood.
Yes.
You do, a lot of your movies are about mother-daughter relationships, and they get through the alienation. and they come to a different place. I'm a therapist. I'm very interested in that. Can you tell the folks out there, if they don't run into you and have a documentary made of their lives, do you have any advice to help them do this without the camera? To help mothers and daughters who are alienated from each other?
I think in life generally, it's so important to listen to someone when they talk, to really listen. And that's what's so lovely about the people in Port Townsend. They truly listen to you, you know, when you talk. I think instead of trying to sort of jump on your child when she's talking to you about something with your learnt experience, just try and listen and truly hear what she says, and she or he. And I think as a parent, you're not ever given a manual, so you fly by the seat of your pants, and it's the most wonderful thing when you give your teachings to your child and one day something triggers and you see the results of your teaching or your advice. And
it's two ways. When you say listening, you really get some advice and information from your child.
I have a 21-year-old daughter, and honestly, she's my greatest teacher right now. She really is.
And I think the other piece of it for me that I'm thinking about in watching your films, they're so powerful, because not just Mulberry Child, I did tag into other things, that somehow to return to the origin of a trauma, whether it's physically or just emotionally, and I don't mean just, and with help or on your own, and that return is a way of helping your child really tune in to the origin of what makes you tick and what makes you be the kind of parent you are to your child.
Yes.
And I think it opens it all up. And,
yes.
I wish we could bottle you up and put you in every therapist's office and let you make a documentary for all our clients' families.
What a lovely compliment. What a lovely compliment.
Well, it's truly the best therapy I've seen in a while.
Wow, that touches me.
In fact, I do have to say, actually, literally, in one case, where where a 22-year-old young woman was just berating her mother, I said to her, "Go see this film. Just go see this film." Then I didn't have to say anymore. You're doing my job for me, but I'm not going to split my fee. Anyway, I would like to thank you and give you the opportunity to say one final thing in wrapping up this interview. Susan Morgan Cooper, director, producer of Mulberry Child, winner of many awards, most recently right here in Port Townsend. What would you like to say to wrap up?
Well, I think what I'd like to say, I have advice to offer to you students. I tell everyone who's learning film and wanting to make a film, think big. Think about the biggest, greatest thing you can reach out for. And don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. And I would also, Port Townsend for me, I would encourage every single filmmaker to come here, because not only is the quality of the films spectacular, but the kind of audience response and reception you get is just heartwarming.
Thank you. Them's are inspirational words. It's been a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my audience.